For decades, the United States has waged a silent war against Mexico's most dangerous cartels. These missions unfolded in the dark, carried out by elite special operations units moving through jungle paths, mountain tunnels, and border safe houses. A hidden chess match between highly trained operatives and ruthless criminal empires. But today, that long-running covert struggle is transforming into something far more direct, powerful, and openly strategic. Washington is preparing to treat cartels not as criminal networks, but as foreign terrorist organizations, putting them in the same category as ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Behind closed doors, high-ranking officials from the Pentagon, intelligence community, and the White House discuss plans once considered unthinkable, including precision drone strikes, cross-border special operations raids, and even the deployment of devastating thermobaric vacuum bombs mounted on B-2 stealth bombers. Why the rules are changing. Cartels have evolved. Their power rivals insurgent armies with armored convoys, encrypted communications, military-grade drones, and multi-billion-dollar supply chains. They operate like intelligence agencies, recruit mercenaries and ex-military specialists, and command loyalty enforced through terror. Their reach extends far beyond Mexico, influencing political power, communities, and financial networks across North and South America. Meanwhile, the spread of synthetic narcotics like fentanyl has turned cartel crime into a national security crisis for the United States, killing tens of thousands of Americans each year. Facing rising public pressure and international political momentum, Washington has begun laying the groundwork for a new era, one where cartels are hunted with the same tools once reserved for global jihadists. Elite forces in the shadows. For many years, America's most skilled special operations units quietly crossed into Mexican territory under secret bilateral agreements. Working alongside select Mexican military teams, they tracked cartel leadership, intercepted communications, and dismantled hidden drug labs. These missions were fast, silent, and surgical. Helicopter insertions in remote mountains, night vision raids on fortified compounds, intelligence extraction from captured operatives. Their presence was never acknowledged publicly. Sometimes not even senior Mexican officials were told until after operations were complete. And the cartels noticed. They placed multi-million-dollar bounties on suspected U.S. operatives and armed themselves with anti-aircraft weapons. Several American personnel died in missions never reported in newspapers or honored with public ceremonies. Their sacrifices buried inside classified files. Thermobaric weapons and stealth bombers. The most dramatic shift in this evolving conflict is the consideration of thermobaric weapons, also known as vacuum bombs. Unlike traditional explosives, which detonate through stored chemical energy, thermobaric devices disperse a cloud of fuel mist into the air and then ignite it, creating a fireball and pressure wave powerful enough to collapse bunkers, tunnels, and reinforced cartel labs hidden underground. These weapons do not rely solely on their own oxygen source. They pull oxygen from the surrounding air, creating a devastating inferno and shockwave capable of pulverizing concrete and steel. Their use has been studied in past American wars from Vietnam to Afghanistan and has been condemned by humanitarian groups for their overwhelming destructive potential. Yet, to strategists looking at hardened cartel tunnels and secret jungle compounds, these weapons represent a terrifying but effective option. Deploying such technology would require aircraft capable of slipping into defended territory undetected. Enter the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, one of the most advanced war machines ever built. Capable of flying thousands of miles undetected and striking targets with surgical precision, the B-2 symbolizes overwhelming force. If ever launched against cartel targets, it would mark a new and historic escalation, a moment when a criminal battlefield becomes a military one. The weapon's dark past. Thermobaric technology is not new. Its origins trace back to World War I German incendiaries, refined through brutal experimentation in World War II, and brought into modern warfare by U.S. forces during the Vietnam War. In 1971, early prototypes were tested in Southeast Asia. Decades later, during the War on Terror, American aircraft dropped thermobaric bombs in Afghanistan to target mountain cave networks. The first modern U.S. thermobaric strike occurred in March 2002, when an F-15E released a precision fuel-air explosive. Although the bomb detonated prematurely, it proved the Pentagon's willingness to employ such weapons against hardened enemies. International attempts to ban thermobarics have failed. In 1980, nations such as Mexico, Sweden, and Switzerland pushed for restrictions at the United Nations, arguing that the weapon caused extreme suffering. Military powers ultimately rejected the proposal, ensuring the technology remained in global arsenals. International law still permits thermobarics in battlefield use, a legal detail that takes on renewed importance as Washington considers its options against cartel hideouts. The global crackdown already underway. Even before discussions of stealth bombers and fuel-air explosives reached the public sphere, the United States was already leading massive global operations to choke cartel supply routes. One example is Operation Martillo, launched in cooperation with more than a dozen nations. Warships, patrol aircraft, and special maritime units created a floating dragnet across major trafficking routes. In its first year alone, the mission captured hundreds of traffickers, seized over 100 smuggling vessels, and intercepted nearly 20 tons of cocaine. Then came Operation Orion, a coalition of 60-plus countries stretching from the Caribbean to Europe. The operation seized staggering volumes of narcotics worth billions of dollars, deployed satellite surveillance capable of identifying subtle boat wakes from space, and mobilized military technology rarely used in drug operations. Navy destroyers patrolled high-risk waters while intelligence agencies mapped smuggling routes, identified cartel financiers, and dismantled covert communications networks. Why escalation may be inevitable. Despite unprecedented maritime and intelligence successes, cartel empires remain powerful and adaptive. For every lab raided, another pops up. For every smuggler arrested, a replacement waits. Traditional policing methods cannot match an enemy that blends organized crime, insurgency tactics, and corporate logistics. This realization is pushing U.S. policy toward a military posture. The deployment of Navy destroyers near the Texas-Mexico coast and increasing intelligence flights suggest quiet stage setting. The logic is stark. If cartels behave like insurgent armies and kill Americans at wartime levels through synthetic drugs, then the U.S. will respond as if in a war. What happens if stealth bombers launch? Should the United States ever authorize B-2 strikes with thermobaric payloads, the world would witness a seismic shift in modern conflict. Cartel fortresses hidden in mountains, jungles, and border deserts could vanish in minutes. The psychological impact would be enormous, an unmistakable message that sanctuary no longer exists anywhere. Yet such action carries immense geopolitical risks. Mexico is not an enemy nation, it is a sovereign ally. Any cross-border operation without cooperation would ignite political crisis, public outcry, and international debate. But if Mexico quietly agrees, driven by cartel infiltration, mass violence, and pressure from Washington, a new chapter of counterterrorism could unfold on North American soil. The war you were never supposed to see. The fight against the cartels has already gone far beyond DEA raids and border patrol skirmishes. It now involves satellite tracking, cyber intelligence, strategic naval deployments, multi-nation task forces, and elite covert units who operate without acknowledgement. The question is no longer whether the United States is willing to escalate. The question is when and under what trigger. A cartel-orchestrated mass casualty attack? A direct assassination of American personnel? Or a catastrophic surge in domestic fentanyl deaths could be the spark that transforms policy into action. For now, the conflict remains in the shadows. A silent war waged in mountain caves, along remote coastlines, and inside underground bunkers. But if the day comes when B-2 bombers leave their hangars and fuel-air munitions ignite above cartel strongholds, the world will know the secret war has become an open one. As this silent war edges closer to open combat, one thing is clear. The fight against the cartels is no longer a hidden struggle. Thanks for watching. If you found this deep dive eye-opening, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next investigation into the world's most secret conflicts. Stay sharp, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next one.